Hello and welcome to the Supernatural track here at Continual. I'm your host, Gail Martin, and tonight we are talking about the projects that Jared and Jensen have taken on since Supernatural wrapped up with that traumatic episode at the end of season 15. But they've both been very busy and have been bringing out lots of new material for the fans, in addition to um, all of the conventions around the world. So before we dive into that, let's let our wonderful panelists introduce themselves, starting with Anne.
Hi, I'm Ann Wicker, and I came late to the Supernatural fandom, but went straight down the rabbit hole and have been to several conventions and love doing these panels and talking about all kinds of things supernatural.
Okay, Elektra.
I'm Elektra Hammond. I'm a writer and an editor, and I started watching Supernatural when that first pilot aired, and I watched it all the way through to that last episode that made us all cry. And I am always up to sit around for an hour with my friends and chat about all things supernatural, whether they're from the show or stuff we just plain made up.
Okay. And I'm Gail Martin and Morgan Bryce. And I fell in love with Supernatural halfway through season 11. I binge watched 11 seasons in time for the start of season 12 and fell down the rabbit hole, keep falling, haven't hit bottom yet, hope I never do. But it was life-changing. So we all, of course, would love to see Jared and Jensen come back with a new Supernatural project, and maybe someday, fingers crossed, they will. But they're always rumors, and we did get one, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the boys have not let any grass grow under their feet, both with independent projects and then showing up in each other's projects. So it's been a lot of fun to track them. Let's start with Jensen. And give us one of his post Supernatural projects, and we'll talk about it.
Well, I thought we might start with one of the most recent that we've been able to see since we know he's filming some other ones, but Countdown was a sort of high energy, uh, thriller-ish show, with where Jensen plays a sort of a maverick cop, drawn into um, a special group that's trying to figure out what's going on with the murder of a Homeland Security guy, and it's a sort of a ragtag bunch, but they all have different specialties and different areas, and Jensen is sort of the number two. Eric Dane plays the leader of the group, and Jared, I mean Jensen does really. It's a different sort of hunter-ish kind of character, but the added wrinkle for his character, spoiler ahead, is that he has a brain tumor. And so he takes a lot of unnecessary risks because of that, which reminded me of Dean taking unnecessary risks because he had to protect Sam.
Or because
But
he sold his soul.
yeah, and so, but I thought that Jensen did a really good job with the character. A lot of some of the critics didn't really care for the show. I think a lot of Jensen fans did because it really showcased some of his acting, especially when he had to show us about the brain tumor, which is, I mean, it's not an obvious, you know, gunshot to the shoulder or whatever. It's in his head, and so I thought that he did a really good job with that.
Okay. Electra, anything to add on Countdown?
Well, he played off fantastic. It was a really good ensemble cast. And kudos first to Eric Dane, who was struggling with neurological disease
ALS.
and just came through like a trooper and did a remarkable job. And to Jessica Camacho, whose scenes with Jensen are just amazing. It's just sad that we are not going to get another season of that and find out what the heck happened to her character. It's a great task force drama. They're their own sort of sub-drama of cop show, and they can be really, really good. Um, HBO has one going right now uh, called Task that did get a second season, and the first season is well worth watching.
Okay. Well, before we go on, let's go back to one other show where we at least got a Jensen cameo, and that was the Winchesters, right after Supernatural ended. Any thoughts about that, Anne?
Well, I enjoyed the Winchesters. It was, it was different. And obviously, we came to realize that it was set in a AU universe, alternate universe, um, and that, but it played out in a different way. And we saw some younger hunters, which I thought was really interesting, and another good ensemble cast. And I thought they played off of each other really, really well. And we got some good, cameos from Jensen, of course, as Dean, and he was the narrator, sort of the overview of the thing. And we got cameos from everybody from Bobby, Jim Beaver as Bobby, to Baby herself. And so I enjoyed the show. Um, again, like Countdown, I'm sorry that it didn't go beyond one season, because I think we would have seen more development of the characters and a more interesting, stories, and possibly an appearance by Sam himself.
Mhm.
So, like I said, I enjoyed it enough to buy the DVD.
Okay. Electra?
Um, they had already established towards the end of Supernatural that there were other universes as Chuck was destroying them. And I maintain that the Winchesters is the what you're referring to as the Richesters universe, where these guys grow up to be, pretty wealthy and well-to-do because they grew up in a good family, and John, founds Hunter Corp, and they have jets to take them wherever they're needed. Also, the hair has to be mentioned because, it's a weapon in and of itself. I loved the Winchesters. It's just, more stuff from the, supernatural universe, and more supernatural is better. It
Always.
just, you have to just, it's like whenever a beloved work gets adapted into a comic book or into a movie, you just accept that it's just a side trip and it's not going to be exactly the same, and then you enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it also. And I was hoping if it went on that we would somehow get Jared, slash Sam brought into it as well, because, you need both of them together. But I think for what it was and for the duration that it was a good addition to the canon. And you know, as far as being AU, anybody who reads fan fiction is already comfortable with AU. So, it was, I think it had a lot going for it. Let's talk about the boys, because that really gave, if we wanted to see Demon Dean or Dean Winchester's dark alter ego, We got that with Soldier Boy in The Boys, and of course, lots of cameos from all, so many of the people on the cast, including Jared and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, because we've got Boss Man running it. So thoughts about The Boys, Anne?
Well, I really enjoyed The Boys. I've been a Carl Urban fan for a long time, and his Dr. McCoy in the reboots of Star Trek, he was great. And then he was in at least one Bruce Willis movie where he was an antagonist to Bruce Willis, and he was great in that too. But but I really also enjoyed Jack Quaid in that, and Soldier Boy was just a when the three of them share the screen, it just was it was really great. And I just love that thing where Jack Quaid says some line about, the internet and this and that and the other thing, and all things we're familiar with. And Jensen just looks up at him and says, "You made those words up." I mean, I just loved that. But the whole character of Soldier Boy is very um, interesting and profane and profound, I think. And then I was highly amused by his little cameo in Gen V, which is the offshoot of The Boys that's about the school for superheroes kind of thing. And what I read about it, and Kripke said that he and Jensen sort of bounced those phrases off of each other, and it was almost all ad-libbed. And that was great. And again, it shows the strength of Jensen's just able to inhabit a character and do that. And I'm really looking forward to this next season of The Boys to see the additional interaction and to see Jared and Jensen on screen not playing Sam and Dean. I think on screen together, but not playing Sam and Dean. I think that's going to be amazing. I really do.
Okay, Elektra?
Yeah, I'm also a very big Carl Urban fan going way, way back. I can't remember where it started. It's been so long. Um, but just The Boys is just a tremendous amount of fun, and Jensen has anchored like a whole new wing of The Boys because there's now going to be a whole new series of where Vought started, featuring
About
him,
Rising.
yep, and the character Stormfront. So it's just they can't get enough of him playing Soldier Boy. And he just, whatever he touches, they just want him to do more of. And
Yeah.
he's made just like half a career out of playing Soldier Boy. And I don't think that was intentional.
No, no, but he's done it really well.
Yeah.
Now back to more of the real world, at least without capes and masks. He's also done Tracker. Anne, any thoughts on Tracker?
Oh yeah. I started watching Tracker before I knew that Jensen was going to be in it. And I thought that they had of course, the cast has kind of gone their separate ways at this point in the third season, for the third season, but I thought it was a really good premise and that Justin Hartley does a really good job of playing this kind of loner guy um, who has training and he must have been in the military too, but he was, raised sort of off the grid by this paranoid father. And so he has all this survival experience and he tracks people down and um, he charges in where angels fear to tread, as they say. And then to have Jensen come in and be his older brother, um, again with the older brother role, but it's a different sort of dynamic between Justin Hartley and Jensen, um, which is good. I mean, I again, it's Jensen stretching those acting chops, as you were talking about, that he just inhabits the character and takes the character to a new level. Um, and I really have enjoyed watching he and Justin Hartley interact and develop that show in a really good way. Again, it's a twist on that sort of um, he's sort of a vigilante, but he's also sort of a private detective, and he really and it's good to have Jensen along to help him, because Jensen's character of Russell um, also has a lot of the same experience, and they can work together very easily. And now that they've sort of understood what happened to their father and what happened in some of the family dynamics. And so I'm hoping that if Tracker gets renewed for a fourth season, that Jensen will be able to be part of that, at least, a few episodes.
Okay. Elektra, thoughts?
It's not a surprise that he showed up on Tracker at all, because one of the writers, uh, I guess one of the head writers on Tracker is Ryan Onan. And Ryan Onan was one of the stars on Big Sky. He played a character called Dono. He
Of course.
also he also wrote a science fiction novel that I feel obliged to mention called Winders. That's pretty good. But Ryan is, doing great. I mean, Tracker is one of the top shows on TV right now. So hopefully we will get, an additional season out of it, and we'll get to see more of Tracker. But Big Sky was also a damn nice series.
Oh yeah.
And we got to see Jensen, playing a cop character. What might have been had Dean joined the local constabulary there in Lebanon.
Yeah.
And thoughts about Big Sky?
Well, I totally agree, Electra, and I really am sorry that we didn't get another season with Jensen in Tracker. I mean, in Big Sky, because I thought there was the hint of a good romance that could have been, and we and it was really interesting to see Reba and her husband and doing that part of acting. And I knew she could act ever since I saw her in Tremors. and and
Which was a
so
while ago.
oh yeah, but she's had her own shows on TV too, comedy shows and stuff. I haven't watched them, but I thought she did great, and I thought Jensen was good, and he got to portray a father um, of a daughter, and he was totally, of course, prepared from real life, and also prepared from being father, mother, everything to Sam as Dean. And I thought he did really well with that part. And just again, playing the cop who would get in there and take chances and try to figure out stuff.
Okay. Is there anything else that Jensen's been in that we haven't touched on before we move on to Jared?
Well, he's done like some small parts in uh, two movies that were in the Buddy Games list list or series. I haven't seen those, um, and we haven't talked about the fact that he also directed a Walker.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
we could talk about that later
Let's
before
and
we
he
talk.
talk
does
about.
voice work,
Yes.
Well, oh yeah,
which
voice work.
is, he's just been like, Batman, but that's just, voiceover work.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
But
yeah.
That's nothing important, just that,
Just
just
Batman.
Batman.
Just Batman.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I played a Batman and Robin, from the time I was 5 and Adam West was on TV, but Batman's not an important character to me at all.
No, I know.
Um, you know, my brother's first word was Batman because I taught him how to talk,
There you
Nice.
go.
Nice.
but not important at all. Yeah.
Not important at all. No.
Nope, not at all.
Well, let's move on with what Jared's been busy doing because he's also been pretty busy. And Anne, you mentioned Walker, so take it away.
I liked Walker. Um, I was not bowled over by Walker like some people were, but I liked it, and I thought did again. They had a great ensemble cast. Mitch Pileggi, Keenan, is that how you say his name? Keegan Allen,
Hmm.
um, and as the younger brother, and in this one he gets to play the older brother, and I thought that the show overall was good. Um, they there was some for me there were some continuity problems with some of the plot issues, um, and they tried in a way after actually having Genevieve, Jared's wife, on as his dead wife on the show. Um, but she came, in sort of flashbacks and that sort of thing. Um, After that story arc ended, they sort of tried to make him into a bit of a ladies' man, and it was like they were always trying to. It seemed like they were trying to give him a girlfriend, which I wasn't really sure that just didn't work for me. Um, and but I mean, but Jared did great. He was the lead, and he carried the show, and I thought that overall he did a great job.
And
I
once
just
again,
think,
we got Supernatural alumni there with Mitch and with Jen showing up and Jensen directing. So still kind of keeping it all in the family.
yeah. And of course he got to shoot it in Austin, in and around Austin, which of course is where he lives, and I know that was important to him. And but anyway, the show had a really good look to it because being shot on location in Austin, and it was you know the story itself was set in Austin, so that really tracked.
Okay, Elektra?
I think Anne managed to hit all of the high points because there were so many problems with the story and the story arcs. And I mean, I loved all of the actors individually. I've seen Colby Bell and other things and liked him. I thought Molly Hagan was great as, the center of the family and holding the family together. And it had a hard time figuring out what it wanted to be. Was it trying to be a story about, family, or was it trying to be a, a, a lawman, buddy cop type of thing, or were they trying to be a super crime drama? They never really settled on what they were. And maybe if they'd had more time, they would have. We kept trying to give them that time, and they were never really there. They
Hmm.
they dithered around here and there, and maybe part of it was they lost. He kept losing partners that left the series, and they were all excellent actresses mostly. Uh, but it never cohered into something that was an awesome whole that knew what it was.
Hmm.
I mean, we're so used to Supernatural being, it may have been about supernatural things, but at its core, it was about found family.
Hmm.
And we all found ourselves drawn to that. And Walker never really found its way. It was
Hmm.
it was a beautiful show, but it I never really knew what it was about.
I still liked it better than I remember watching Walker, Texas Ranger, the original property back in the day, and I still like Jared's version much better.
Well, the old Walker was a show about uh, Chuck Norris,
Yeah,
as opposed to other things that were about Chuck Norris. There were movies about Chuck Norris, and the plots weren't particularly important. He was a movie star, and he agreed to do a TV series, and they just wrapped a TV series around him, and people tuned in to see him.
yeah, that's pretty much
So
pretty
that
much.
was that was a different time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So going from Walker, then there was Fire Country
Well,
and oh,
Wait.
Walker Independence.
Walker Independence. You're
I
right.
want to at least give some props there, because if nothing else, I think that Katie Findlay is one of my favorite actresses working today. And I just they kept making her character more interesting as the show went on. I mean, first she's like running a brothel, sort of, except she's being particularly nice to the women there, and she's taking super care of them. And then it turns out she's really a Pinkerton agent. And it was just, she kept getting more, and she held it all together. And I so wanted to see where they were going to take that character.
I have to say that I really enjoyed Walker Independence almost more than I did Walker. It just I enjoyed the actress and the character you're talking about, Elektra, and I also enjoyed the woman who's I'm afraid I can't remember the actress's name
Catherine
who
McNamara.
yes. I thought she was really good too. And again, it was a good ensemble around her. And you never, there was a lot of tension about,
Although there was that weird goof because her name was Abilene.
yeah,
And they were claiming that it was a family name, except Abilene grandma married into the clan.
yeah,
And that was just that big oops.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but it was okay. We loved that anyway.
yeah. And I like the dynamic with the Indian and then the ne'er-do-well guy who was also the ne'er-do-well in Walker. And I just thought that it was an entertaining
It knew
Western
what it
show.
was.
What
It was a bit crazy, but it knew what it was.
it
It
exactly
was it was a show about the founding of a town.
yeah. And
And and the beginning of the feud between the Walkers and whatever
the
their name was.
Davidsons, the
Right.
Davidsons.
Which we didn't know went back quite that far.
Right. Yeah.
And so it made sense.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry we didn't get more,
Me too. I really am. I really am.
but I found it much more cohesive.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can go on.
Okay. Well, there's also been Fire Country, where he had a guest starring role, and they are talking about him at least making some sort of appearance or having some sort of
They
possible
wanted to give him his own series.
in Sheriff Country, which is the spin-off for Fire Country. And
Oh, there's talk about that. I hadn't heard that.
yeah,
They wanted to spin him off into his own series, and when he said no, then they talked that then they created Sheriff Country, because they want to create a whole night off Fire Country because it's very popular. I'm
okay.
wondering if they might spin off the guy who put the firehouse back together after Vince's death into a series.
Yeah, I think
He's another popular actor.
yeah, I've read about that, and I started watching Fire Country before I knew that Jared was going to be on it, and really I have really enjoyed it. Um, Again, it's a little bit of a soap opera, but they're all firefighters.
It's a huge soap opera, but at least they have now lost the improbable Olympic diving champion EMT firefighter who didn't actually look like she could manage to do any of it except the diving.
Right, right.
Yeah, who also attracted a stalker. That was a
Yeah,
bit too soap opera-y. Yeah, I started watching that one. The ads sucked me in.
yeah.
And
And
it's a fun series, and Sam was terrific. Sam, yes, right. Jared was terrific in it.
he really was terrific. And it was amazing to see him all decked out in all that firefighter outfit and pulling those ropes and doing whatever he was doing. And I thought he played against Max. Is it Thoreau? How do you say his name? I don't know. Um, but
I think you got it right.
he the play between those two was really good, I thought. And that was really the heart of the story arc that Jared was part of. Um, and I also think that it's a really um, like you were saying about the other shows, Elektra, it is a soap opera, but it knows what it is. And it uses the elements of the firefighting. And also, I like the subplot of the Three Rock, the group of men who come out of prison and learn about being a firefighter. And some of them, yes, go on to be firefighters, as
Well,
we've
they
seen.
work time off their sentences. That's a real thing.
Yeah. And I think that that's a wonderful way to bring you know, men and women back into society and help them learn a good a good trade, as it were. And I just think I think all around they've done a really good job with that. And of course, California suffers all those fires all the time, and it makes the general, it's fiction, but it also makes the general public who watches this show more aware about what firefighters go through, because I think Max has really done his homework on that. And yeah, I was interested in Sheriff's Country. I think I've watched a couple of episodes of that, but I did not know that they were talking about getting Jared on that show too. Um, but we'll see after he makes this new movie that he's involved in filming.
Oh,
What I
is it a movie or a new series or both?
it's a movie, and
It's a made for it's a
fast.
made for TV movie.
The
It
medical drama?
sounds
No,
fascinating. It's a remake of The Bodyguard,
no, it's
but
not.
it I think it is, isn't it?
No, no, it's based on a book called The Bodyguard
Okay.
that has nothing to do with the Whitney Houston movie.
Okay. It's the same sort of situation,
But
except it's gender flipped.
it's gender flipped. And yes, it is the same sort of situation, but it's gender flipped, and there's some other twist, but also they're making it as a Christmas movie. So we're likely not to see that until next Christmas.
Okay.
Okay.
And there
Well,
is talk about him starring in a new medical drama that's being developed by Anna Frick, who was one of the creators for Walker. So we may have Dr. Padalecki here. Actually,
Doctors, I've been calling him Dr. Sexy.
Dr. Sexy. Well, I
I
think
think there already is one of those, but
his older brother for real is a doctor,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. An orthopedic surgeon or something. Yeah.
Well, Jared could use that right now
Uh,
because we learned that he's got a broken leg, although nobody's saying how. But that's going to be interesting for him finishing out everything he's got going on right now.
yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just I grew up watching medical dramas like The Doctors and, Marcus Welby and all of those classics.
hey, Marcus Welby is, he's just what Dean would look like if he was older.
This is true. On top of growing up with a dad who was a doctor, so we had plenty of medical drama. But it'll be interesting to see Jared be a doctor. Um, and I'm sure he'll do wonderfully at it, but that'll be an
We've already
interesting.
seen him as a doctor. It was in one of the episodes of Supernatural. He operated on his brother.
Oh, that's right. That's right. See, everything just comes back to Supernatural.
It
It,
does, doesn't
it
it?
does. It really does. Yeah.
Well, is there anything we've left out or rumors of things we've left out? Because we're,
Well, there's supposed to be a Gilmore Girls documentary
oh
that
yeah.
Jared has, I guess they interview him for it or something. And then he was in the commercial about for Panera. Um, and it was somebody else that was the Gilmore Girls, and they were talking about soup. I just saw the clip on YouTube or somebody, put it on their Facebook page. And I had no idea. I thought, what is Jared doing commercial for Panera for? And it's something to do, it was some Gilmore Girls thing, and maybe it's part of the promo for this documentary. I don't know. I really
Well,
don't know.
Michael Rosenbaum does a podcast where he has had Jared and Jensen frequently on as guests. So they talk about not only Supernatural, but all the stuff they're working on.
Yeah.
So, I think both of them have shown up frequently on that show with
Yeah.
updates.
Everybody has a podcast.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody does. Yes.
Oh, and one other thing that I forgot about that I just saw in my notes is that Jared and Genevieve hosted a special anniversary, some kind of concert thing for Austin City Limits.
Hmm.
And they've been very big supporters of Austin City Limits, and they asked them to be the hosts for this. And I haven't seen it, except I saw some clips of them on stage talking, about whoever the next act was going to be in this, because I know it's probably one of those concerts where there, 10 or 12 bands who get to play one song or something. So, but anyway, so he's done some stuff like that. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm really curious about this medical drama.
Hmm. That'll be interesting to see it come around. Well, folks, we have gone through our time. So before we wrap up, please tell us what else you do besides show up on Continual and where we can find you online. Anne?
Well, I'm also a writer and editor and a former journalist and uh, retired journalist, really, but I still keep my hand in writing and editing. And you can find me on Facebook and on Instagram. That's about it for right now. Under Ann Wicker, if you see mostly my profile pictures are bracelets uh, on my arm, but sometimes like I posted a picture from the 80s for right now. Anyway, um, and you can find me on Continual.
Okay. Elektra?
My website is untilmidnight.com, and you can find me Monday evenings at 7 o'clock when, for an hour on Mastodon, we answer random questions under the hashtag WriteFant. And everybody is welcome to join in. A group of friends and I take turns hosting absolute random topics. This week it was birds. And it gets to be fun because conversation goes back and forth. Just, for an hour, you can participate or not. Everybody is welcome.
Okay. And I'm pretty easy to find at gailzmartin.com, morganbryce.com. As Gail, I write epic and urban fantasy. As Morgan, I write urban fantasy, male, paranormal romance. But my modern day worlds are ones Sam and Dean could walk into and feel right at home. And if you spell those names right, you can find me on all the social media. But most of all, I'm here on Continual, and I also run the Supernatural TFWNC group on Facebook. Well, folks, thanks so much for being with us tonight, and thanks to all of you for watching and listening. There will be more Supernatural coming up on Continual, so we'll see you online.